We're flying the KI-45 Heavy Fighter today. Kind of the last run that I make with this before I get the 57 millimeter cannon, which I just punked out on and got tired of dealing with it. And by the way, I am officially out of my excuse me chat ban. Um, and I'm going to take a minute to rant about the chat ban a little bit because I went through 3 days of people saying hi to me and I couldn't reply. I have no idea how many of you think I'm this rude son of a gun who thinks he's too good to talk to people. And the worst part about it is when I started looking at the forums, this was being picked out by some sort of automated deal to um, using some sort of character recognition or something, trying to filter out bad words and that sort of stuff. And there's no appeal process. There's no saying, hey, you will show me what I did that was so bad that I needed to have a chat ban. And right or wrong, it came across to me as extremely high handed. Um, and I've got to admit, I did not like it. Um, Frankly, World of Warplanes, you need to tighten up your act where this is concerned. It is not acceptable to go blame people for things that they probably didn't do. I really do not go around telling people to cussing at them or bullying them or anything like that. And given my position, you can understand why. All right. I may not like the way somebody acts. Um, I may not like the comments they make. But 99.9% of the time, I refuse to get involved in it. All right. It's just not worth my time, my effort, or my reputation to start snarking at people. Um, I think it's too bad. I will report them in chat, by the way. And I had one guy railed on me for 6, 7, 8 lines about what a so and so I was and how I, really must have thought I was something because I shot him down a few times. And um, yeah, I did report that fellow. Yeah, but a lot of cussing was involved. A lot of you dirty so and so's, and arrogant AOB. AOB. I will use the word AOB instead of you. Go ahead and put whatever you want to put in there. Yeah, I have an objection to that, and I don't think that I should be acting that way either. So that anyway, I am off the chat ban. We can, I'll be happy to reply to you, and if you got your feelings hurt because I wasn't answering you, it was because I couldn't answer you. And still feel bad for people who are trying to contact me and wanted to reply to them and say hi back and that sort of stuff, and couldn't do it. Just could not do it. So, uh, for those people that were uh, not getting answers, I'm sorry. I just, this whole thing is kind of was out of my control. I have no idea why I got chat banned. I have had nobody to talk to, and they seemed fairly happy to hide behind. Well, the bot did it. I don't have to get involved. And to World of War games, that's unacceptable customer service. If you're going to ban people, you need to give them a mechanism to come back and say, no, I didn't. Show me where I did wrong, and we can discuss it at that point. Don't slap me with a chat ban and say, oh, well, because quite frankly, the days of me putting much more than thank you and good game are over. All right. Uh, I heard the word crack will now get you a chat ban. Well, crack me up means laughing in American English. Has nothing to do with a curse word, and I can think of a lot of other things. But apparently, it's a cuss word somewhere, or somebody, dumb, really stupid. Anyway, there we go. I'm done talking about it, and I won't be talking about it in the future. But if my answers come back as rather formulaic and short, that's why. It's not that I don't want to discuss with you in depth. It's just go ahead and put it on the chat channel, and I will reply voluminously. I had a guy come in at uh, the community forums and war game community creations, and we had a very long chat. I have no problem with that, but I'm not going to expose myself to the bot deciding I'm cussing when I'm not, and give me 3.5 days or 4 days or whatever it was of ban because it decided I needed that, especially when they can't provide a review process. Um, yeah, just not happy with the whole situation. So anyway, let's just move on. We've got better things to talk about. The Ki-45 is a wonderful aircraft, and you see here, I'm just finally punking out and getting the last 1,000 or so that I need, rather than I've got. Okay, so we got the old Seahawk out here, and this is the one that I'm going to be grinding on forever. Uh, when I finish this thing up, I think I still have like 185,000 points to go on. So, yeah, I'll be grinding on this puppy for a while. That's okay. It gives me a chance to get a little more pilot experience in there and earn some more silver. And the last thing I need is another plane I need to upgrade right now. I've got 2, possibly 3. I may bring the XF90 back in. Um, what it does is fire 1,800 points of damage with these pairs of rockets. And you notice when I come back around, literally all you got to shoot is the smokestacks, and those are easy to take down. And you essentially got the entire base. So, it just doesn't get a whole lot better for an alpha strike on this. And on top of it, the rockets don't take that long to come back. So from, just being able to take a multi-op and being able to take a base with it, this comes as close as I've seen to really getting the job done. Does a nice job. The problem is with when you had its predecessor, the attacker. That was an aircraft where it didn't have the most outstanding speed or maneuverability or guns. If you heard me say it about that aircraft before, it was just everything was good enough. And when you stack that many good enoughs together, you get a great aircraft. And the Attacker was a great aircraft. The Seahawk, with the exception of its ground strike capabilities, is an aircraft that's not quite good enough. At least that's the experience I've had with it so far. Now, that's a long way from saying, will it be when you finish specializing out the aircraft? It has all the upgrades. It's ready to go. But as you've seen from my Yak 30, and I suspect what you will see when I finish up with the F-86 in the full spec line, the Yak 30 was always a great turn and burn. But when you finish specializing it, it's a very fast, well, not fast, but medium to fast turn and burn. And that's a dangerous aircraft. And those of you that have flown it and fought against it know what I'm talking about. Well, it is a dangerous aircraft at 311 miles per hour cruise speed. It's a ferociously dangerous aircraft when you start exceeding and pressing 350, 300, start pressing 360, 370. I think right now it's at 367 for a cruise speed. All of a sudden, that becomes a very different aircraft, albeit that it still doesn't have altitude. So I'm kind of wondering here what can be done. Right now, I have battered this thing with a good pilot and probably the best pilot I got is 9-point pilot. And he's got lots of maneuverability enhancers in there in his pilot skills. And I've put the lightweight frame in here. I put the lightweight power plant in here. And I've wrestled this thing down like a dog to 11 seconds. Well, the aircraft has a couple of issues in my thoughts, and one of them is that it doesn't turn quite well enough, and that may be addressed with two more levels of specialization. If you get things under 10 seconds, even 10 point or under 11 seconds, even if it's 10.7, 10.8, whatever it will end up being, that's a pretty nice deal. But the other problem with the Seahawk is its cruise speed is fairly slow. 315 miles an hour cruise speed. And I find that it's an aircraft that I would hesitate to take up against an XF5U. Why? Because an XF5U can come up, I believe I currently have that up to 411 miles an hour cruise speed. So A, it can outrun you, and B, it can outgun you. And you're talking a Tier 8 aircraft. Now, this thing is better than a lot of multi-ops, and it's not giving you a 13.5 turn time, but it's one that you want to fly as a fighter, and it's not quite good enough. And the guns at 520 DPS are okay, but they're just okay. So as it sits right now, you look at the thing and you keep thinking, where the attacker was just good enough to win your heart. It was just good enough so many places that it was the little plane that could. And this one keeps giving me the feeling that it's the plane that just can't quite get there. It's a disappointment compared to the Hunter. Or not to the Hunter. I haven't played the Hunter yet. Looking forward to it. It's a nice looking plane. I love this thing. I love the way it looks. I love what it does. Um, but I don't like the way that it turns, and I'm not that much in love with the Hispano-Sousa cannons at Tier 9. So those are some of the things that kind of eat at me a little bit. Can you have good games in it? Yeah. Yeah, you sure can. Can you turn a sight with it? Absolutely. Is it something that you want to get into it with real fighters? Not really. Not if I have a choice about the matter. And the thing that bugged me the most about it is the low altitude and the lowest speed. All right. You take the P-51A here, B, actually, I guess at this point. You know what it does. You know what it fits at. And by the way, it's only got a 10.5 turn, 10.5 second 360 turn on it. It's not, the second coming of the most agile thing on earth, but it does have high altitude. It can turn any heavy fighter in its tier, and in the tier above it, actually, into confetti pretty quickly. Um, I just would terrorize P-38s with this thing, even when they're at tier 7. This is a tier 6 fighter. Yeah, you can just literally own the high space with this thing, used correctly. Can literally clear the skies with it. Now, I'm giving you guys a 30-minute video today because I was a little laggard in over the weekend. Between the chat bans and other things, it just kind of started to lose a little heart and just needed some time to recoup. And I was tired of not being able to answer people back. And I'm still smarting a little bit over the chat ban. I don't understand how I got, nor can anybody be bothered to find out. Um, that's beyond irritating. But nonetheless, let's just get on with this. So I wanted to give you guys a good 30-minute show. That's 3 times the length of the they normally are. So you get a good views. It's my mea culpa. Yeah, you know how things are. Sometimes you just get fed up and you don't want to be here. So I had my case of it. So we're clearing the skies, and my whole deal here is I want to make sure that there is nothing that we take out their high cover. And so far we've been pretty good at that. Want to continue on. And where the beef fails a little bit at is it only has 4 machine guns, which, by the way, is historically accurate. And you'll notice when you get the D, I think that's a plane. It's still a decent plane, but it's being affected a little bit by power creep. Lots of things out there that are faster than it is. Lots of things out there that are just as uh, they can turn with it. Yeah, so it's right now at T6. It's a nice, really nice aircraft. Best out there? Maybe not, but I enjoy it. And no, I didn't sleep out well last night either. So I'm going to enjoy a bit of coffee here. Try to wake up a little bit. Talking to you good folks is always a good experience. And if I've not said it before, let me say it now. It's a privilege and an honor to be running this channel for you all. All right, there's something in my sky, and I don't want him there. And one thing you notice when you start doing these types of fighters and start taking on high cover and clearing the skies like that, you always end up in these. The fact that they're up here at all tells you that they belong up here, and for the most part, not always. And they're usually pretty quick. So you spend a little more time getting to them than you might always like. And this isn't a slow aircraft. Now, for those of you who don't know the history of the plane, the P-51 actually came out when the British Purchasing Commission came over and was looking for P-40 Warhawks, which they use extensively in the Desert Campaign, Operation Torch, and all that. However, North American said, "Hey, we can build you a better aircraft, and we can deliver it to you in the same time as if we took the drawings and started turning them over on our factory floor. And we'll get back to you in 90 days with a proposal. Let you see the aircraft." And by God, they did it. And when they got this aircraft, it was using the Allison engine, which could not use superchargers. So it was kind of limited in what it could do. But they were amazed by the aerodynamics of the aircraft. This thing, out of the box, was pulling 390 miles an hour, anything below 12,000 feet. And the British were like, "We don't have anything in the inventory with this kind of capability." And so they used them for photo reconnaissance and low-level interceptions. But it was really crippled by the fact that, they typically fought, 18, 20, 22,000 feet during the Battle of Britain. Very common. And so its true usefulness to the British was somewhat daunted. And somebody had said, "Hey, look, we got Merlins. They're about the same size. Why don't we put a Merlin in it?" Well, one thing the aircraft always had going for it was it had fairly substantial fuel capacity. And when they were redesigning the aircraft to take it, they stuffed in another 56 gallons into the fuselage. And you had the Mustang. And interestingly enough, the United States, the Packard Automotive Company, was licensed producing the Merlin and making their own improvements to it. And they did the same thing at North American Aviation in Los Angeles. And it turned out to be a match made in heaven. All of a sudden, it was faster, and it could get all the way up to whatever altitude you wanted to take it to, which is kind of nice. And literally turned the air war around for the Allies. So it's a wonderful aircraft, wonderful history to it, and it's an aircraft that I think World of Warplanes needs to look at, because it happens with all these games. You make your money out of having the next brightest and newest out there, and so you put it up, and it is what it is, and it's not that much, And you forget about the planes in the past, and if they get anything, they get a Nerf. So it's an aircraft, especially in the P-51D model, that they need to take a look at and see if they can't touch it up a little bit. In the right way. All right, so we have the ubiquitous Yak 30 that I fly all the time. But you'll notice the speed on this thing is just phenomenal. Now this is ultimate gear throughout. I think the only thing I haven't put it on is the sight, and I just don't want to put it on the sight. I think the range is long enough as things sit, and it's accurate enough. So I'm happy with the way things are. There's also the downside of this is that I'm sometimes having to put on flaps and to slow down because I overrun things with it. This is a turn and burn. You know, obviously it can rip planes out of the sky just as fast as you want to imagine. But again, I outrun this guy. And if he's a little more on the ball, I could be in big trouble. And when you start having the scissors like this tells you you're going too fast. And you notice I extend my flaps because I'm just flat overrunning people and making turns in front of them to get back behind them, which you can do in this. But if you do it against something with a turn and burn, or approaching that, an LA-15, F-86A, another aircraft that needs some attention, it'll eat your lunch. You won't get that chance. And this aircraft is one that I'm very proud of. I really like it. Really like flying it. Too much so, I think. It and the 1101 are my favorite aircraft. But I'm going to be honest in the fact that some of what um, it bothers me that the two best aircraft, one was a prototype. Well, they were both prototypes. There were a couple of these made by the Soviets and decided, it's just not a MiG-15. The MiG-15 is a better aircraft. Uh, and I will tell you that if the two aircraft meet in this game, I wouldn't give the MiG-15 a whole lot of chance there. Okay. Now again, the MiG-15 I have is not specialized out yet, so take that with a large grain of salt. Because after my experiences with this aircraft, there's a lot of things to be said for it. But you have no idea what you really have in an aircraft until you've ultimate spec'd it. And yes, the F-94 is a nasty piece of work. I still think that M61 gun is the best thing in the game. And as a friend told me, well, it's a wonderful gun in a mediocre airframe, which was probably true. But what it really did better than anything else in this time frame was have the best electronics and the best radar. So it was an all-weather interceptor. It was pretty quick and had a high altitude. Again, one of my frustrations with the F-94. Probably wasn't much of a dogfighter, but it wasn't meant to be. Meant to shoot down bombers at night. They did a pretty good job at it. Now, they snuck in and took the base from me while I wasn't looking, when I was fighting other aircraft. And obviously, I'm more than a little bit ticked. So we're killing aircraft. And I am now looking for the GA that did it. And I got them. And sure enough, there they are. Snuck in while I was fighting fighters. And yeah. So we're going to go say hi to him and have a discussion of proper behavior. Now I'm joking, of course. I just got to make sure that they don't take anything else from us. We do have superiority, and we have done the job correctly and shot down plenty of aircraft. Come on, come on. Let me take this time to say thank you for watching today. I appreciate you. Please remember to like the video, to subscribe, and if you want to donate to the channel, you can do so at the channel main page. Upper right-hand corner, you'll find a Patreon link. I want to also remind you to please be safe out there. Life is precious, fragile, and short. All right. Lost uncle of mine, second cousin, really. Still, of course, he's 93, but still it reminds you. Have a great day, folks. See you tomorrow.